Here we go. I'm extremely, extremely excited to welcome Dawn today. And Dawn's catch cry, Dawn Gregory, and Dawn's catch cry all the way from England, but she's not originally from there, I do believe. I'll let her tell that story. But confidence and clarity in every word is her catch cry, which I really, really like. And the moment I got to meet Dawn, I resonated with her and her style of communication, as well as I think she just gets me, which is really nice. So when that happens in life, and Dawn is the expert around that, but when that happens, you are onto something, right? And that's a metaphor for all of your business, really, and life success, I believe, as well. So I'm going to hand it over to Dawn. I was going to read her whole bio, but I want this to be a warm welcome, not a sort of, you can all read, basically, is what I think. And but her skills as a teacher and a coach and a speaker help clients all over the world to actually get what they want, right? So that's why I've got Dawn on board today to speak to you, because from the spoken word to the written word to your branding feel all the way through is this communication of how you warm the audience up to get the result from them that you want, what you want to help them with. Yeah. So over to Dawn. Thank you, Dawn, for being with us.
You're very welcome. Oh my goodness, this is just too exciting, I have to say. Hi there, guys. I'm Dawn Gregory, as Linda has just introduced me. I'm very excited to be here. Now, sometimes when I get very excited, my Northern accent runs away with me. So if you find me speaking too quickly because I'm getting too excited, somebody has to start doing this or something just to get me to slow down. Okay. And so it's one of those things that I find really, really inspiring is whenever I'm talking to a group of ladies who have just really got something tremendous that they want to get out in the world and actually share with people. And one of my things is to help people to do that. Okay. I've been doing this work for a very long time. However, there was a time whenever I wasn't completely sure about what I was doing myself, and I felt very unsure, very nervous. I probably shot myself in the foot quite a few times over the years, but then I started looking and examining what I did as a speaker and thought, okay, how can I make this accessible to other people? So one of the things that I want to leave you with tonight is some really key takeaways that will enable you, whether you're speaking on a Facebook Live, whether you're getting up on stage, whether you're speaking to a group of lovely ladies about what it is you do, whatever you're doing, I want you to go away after tonight with a set of takeaways that means you can do this more effectively. So one of the things that I wanted to actually do was I'm piggybacking a little bit on the back of what Kaz shared with us last week. Kaz, hi, it's good to see you here. And one of the things that she was focusing on and talking to us about was finding that ideal customer, that avatar, that person that we are going to be actually focusing on, who is going to be our client. And actually for speaking, it's very, very much the same thing. So I like to think that the easiest way to remember about what to do is just to ask yourself a set of questions. I'm going to rewind a little bit. There will be time for questions. If you have questions, just sort of, I don't know, stick your hand up or something, which is kind of hard for you, Mary, because you're a lovely picture at the moment. But I think if I can go through each little section, and then if there's something that you don't get about that section, can you just shout out? Well, in whatever way we can. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be looking at is, who are we speaking to? Okay. And one of the first things that you want to really think about is the research that you do around your speaking journey. And the first bit of research that you need to do, I would say, just as Kaz said last week, is you need to think about who it is you're speaking to. Who is your target audience? How do they speak? How do they listen? How do they engage with you? And whilst I'm really, really keen on people speaking about what it is that really drives them and pushes their passion, I do appreciate that some of your audience may actually want to catch up on a Facebook Live, may want to catch up on a recording, may actually want to read what you're going to do as well. So before you think to yourself, well, I'm going to go down this speaking journey and everybody's going to listen to me. No, not everybody is. Everybody will get you in different ways. But a lot of what I'm speaking about tonight will actually help you with your written journey as well as your spoken one. But of course, I'm focused on your speaking. So think about, who is that lady? Who are those groups of ladies that you are speaking to who are actually your ideal clients? How are they going to receive you? What is their language? Okay. Whenever I was a teacher for 20 years as part of one of my careers, and one of the things that I found was when I was working with students, I couldn't speak to students using the same language to a 16-year-old as I would use with somebody who was one of my peers, who had a different level of experience. So if you're actually delivering some information to your target audience and they don't have the same level of expertise as you, I would ask you to think about how best to put that across. Okay? So that's the first thing. Research your people really well. Use the information Kaz gave us last week and dig down and dig down and dig down, because that way you will know that who you're speaking to is going to absorb and accept what it is you're saying. And that will help you elevate yourself as that expert that you already are. So while we're on the research end of things, the other thing that you want to research is where. Now, if you're doing Facebook Lives, as I tried to do earlier on in the week, sometimes Facebook Lives don't actually work terribly well. I discovered that Facebook doesn't like my laptop. Facebook doesn't think I have a camera. I think everybody can see me. Can you all see me? Can I have a nod? Yes, you can all see me. Okay, hi, that's good. Facebook couldn't see me. So I was having a terrible old time. I didn't want to use my phone. You know, I wanted to use the computer because there's more stuff on here that I can refer to. And I got really frustrated. I ended up writing my post instead of doing the Facebook Live. So again, think to yourself, if I'm doing a Facebook Live, am I going to pre-record it? Then of course it's not live. But is my message something I'm going to pre-record? Or will I go with Facebook Live? Will my technology work? And all that kind of stuff. If you're speaking somewhere else, you've been invited maybe to a local event, maybe you're at a show or something like that, and you're actually going to be speaking in front of a crowd of people, please, please, please go along, check out the room, check out the space. It's going to be such a big deal if you rock up at the last minute and you find you're in this massive hall and there's no microphone system or anything like that there. You really put yourself at a disadvantage. And one of the things that I'm really big on with these steps is to give you things, tools to support you so you can do any speaking you do and feel really good about yourself and feel really confident. I went to speak at an event last year, and I hadn't been there before. And it was one of those places where the ceiling was really low and it was quite long. And my voice, although I can really punch it out when I want to, my voice wasn't carrying to the back of the room. And that was a big deal for me. You know, luckily at the time when I was speaking, I didn't know that my voice wasn't carrying because nobody led on, but somebody afterwards came up and spoke to me. And that made me feel really bad because I was there to provide that audience with a little bit of learning, a bit of support. I was there to be of service to them. And the poor buggers at the back of the hall couldn't hear me. So that was something that I learned very, very early on, very carefully. So again, if you're speaking and it's a live event, just make sure that you've kind of checked things out a little bit before you go, and make sure that you've got everything you need so that you can actually be calm and confident and cool getting up on the stage. And so that's another thing that you want to research. The other thing that I feel that you really want to research is around your topic, because I don't know about you, but you see, I could speak for Britain about speaking, about confidence. I could speak for hours on so many different things, but actually, tonight I've got 40 minutes. And I don't want to be speaking for the whole 40 minutes because I want you guys to talk to me too. So I have to think, what am I going to choose? What's going to be most appropriate? And so I guess if you know your audience and you know what they're expecting from you, then the chances are you're going to select those little bits and pieces that you know about that you will be able to put over very well. Okay, that's about the first little bit of stuff around research and the first R. Is there anybody got any questions on that so far? No. Okay, so that's our first R. That's research. Our second R is rehearse. It was really interesting. I was at a Toastmasters event speaking last Saturday, and one of the chaps there sort of said, but I don't like listening to myself. And I said, but if you don't listen to yourself, then how do you know what you sound like? Okay. And so one of the things, whenever I first started speaking and recording myself, I remember the first time I listened to myself and I thought, oh my God, I sound as if I'm from Northern Ireland. And then I had to sit back and think, well, actually, I am from Northern Ireland. So of course I sound like I'm from Northern Ireland. So like, what's the big deal? But I just felt that I sounded so Ulster. It was unbelievable. And so I had to get over that. And I thought, some people find my accent quite charming, actually, so that's okay. And if you don't, then let's not worry about it. So, but the thing of it was, until I had that first instance of listening to myself, I really didn't have a notion about how I sounded to other people. The other important about rehearsal is you write all this stuff down, and you think, I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to talk about that and all the rest of it. And then all of a sudden, if you haven't rehearsed it, you don't know it flows. The idea of rehearsing is that you get your mouth around the whole thing. You get to hear, is this flowing? Oh, that bit's a bit awkward. Maybe I'll do something else. If you don't give yourself the opportunity to do that, then guess what? You're on stage or you're in front of your audience in a Facebook Live. You're saying your bit. Your brain is going, oh my God, did you really just say that? And that affects your whole poise and your whole confidence. So again, rehearsing so that what's coming out of your mouth and going into your own ears isn't heard for the first time when you get on stage or doing your Facebook Live. How do you rehearse? I hear you ask, with all this nice silence that's going on. Right, basically, if you can bear it, and some days I can, and other days I get up and look in the mirror and think, oh my God, no, that's not my sight. Use a mirror, but use a full-length mirror. The nice thing about the mirror is you can see your posture. You can see if you're slouching or whatever you're doing. You can see what's happening to your face. And, you know, while sometimes you may think, oh God, no, it actually is helping you. If you can't bear to do that, it's actually quite handy just to use your smartphone and record yourself. Now, in a smartphone, it is not a lot harder to get the full length thing going on, but at least you get something. If you cannot bear to do either of those things, just talk to somebody, or talk to the cat, or talk to the dog, or talk to the wall, you know? But make sure you're repeating those words and you're getting them firm in your mind that these are the words I'm saying and they feel good. I'm trying them on for size, and that's it. So that's one of the things that really needs to happen, is you need to rehearse. And I have this, I wish I'd brought it with me, but it's sitting in the car. I have what I call a bolt box. And my bolt box is a cardboard box covered in gold paper with pictures of Usain Bolt all over it, because I really like Usain Bolt, and he was pretty hot as well as very fast. But the thing of the analogy of Usain Bolt is, you know, he would not rock up to do his 100 meters in under 10 seconds without having prepared and practiced and researched and done all of those things. So that's one of those bits and pieces. Does anybody here kind of feel a bit icky around the rehearsal thing?
Hi, Dawn.
Hi.
I'm going to say something. Just then, when you said Usain Bolt, I thought you said Usain Bolt. And I was like, what's wrong with Usain Bolt? And I just thought, well, there is an example of communication straight away. It took me a little while to download what I knew you were trying to say before
Yes,
I got it.
absolutely.
So I'm going to pull together a little bit of an example from what you've said already, is that don't give them too much, because just because you know the content doesn't mean that they're actually getting it.
Yes.
In terms of my rehearsal, both with my sales call and my live, nothing actually beats performing. So rehearsal's really good, and I have done that, and I do that. But when the lights are on for performance, that's when I'm a little bit smarter, and
Yes.
that's
More
when it
point.
matters. My engagement is better. Prep's good. My engagement is better for myself.
Yes.
And nothing has beaten hours and hours and hours and hours. And I tell my team that I've done 7,000 sales calls. So when they've done 7 and they get no yes, they're like, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, nothing.
Absolutely.
Try 7,000. The same with lives, 8,000 lives that I've done to date in 8 years. So
isn't that wonderful?
Thank you.
No, it is absolutely. But you see, and that's the other thing as well, Linda, is that whenever you have got that much experience, the need to do the higher level of rehearsal is diminished, because you're coming from such a position of expertise and power through the continual practice by doing and doing and doing, and that's really quite something. I've realized there's a
mastery. Yeah, I was just going to say that mastery, I talk about it all the time, and breaking all of these things down is terrific. So breaking it all down for everybody is really terrific. So you're not good. You're just gradually getting there, and Dawn's giving the breakdown. Christy says that she gets very excited when she speaks and sometimes off track. I'm the same, Christy.
Yep.
And I think Dawn just said too, because you want to, give people so much. Christy's got cue cards, or she says, is it okay to use cue cards? I've got dot points, and quite often once they're written down, I don't need to refer to them. But Dawn might give you some more insight in cue cards. And
yeah, Christy, thank you for that. Yes, you know something? I use cue cards. And I know a lot of people who will use Facebook, not Facebook, what's that other thing? PowerPoint, yeah? And they'll have the PowerPoint notes. I find that quite distracting for me. I find if I am delivering a live talk to a new audience on a topic I'm not quite so confident about. So this time last year, I was speaking in Birmingham in the UK on female leadership. And it was really exciting for me because it's something I feel very passionate about, but I hadn't actually spoken about it. So when I use cue cards, I use big ones, A5 size, because I don't want my, I can be a bit short-sighted. I don't want to have a problem that way. And if the truth be known, with that talk, I only used the first 3. After that, I was on a roll. The other thing I do though, Christy, is whenever I'm planning these talks, I have a system that helps me put together the talk in such a way that it flows. And yes, I do get excited, and yes, I get off track, but because I've got this system of the direction of the flow of the talk, then I very gently get myself back on again. It's quite interesting. You might be interested to do a little bit of research. There is a system called 4, the number 4, MAT, M-A-T, and that's a really good way to kind of keep you on track. If you have a little look on the internet, email me, I can send you some resources for it. That's no problem at all. Getting off track is not an issue unless you go so far off track that suddenly you find yourself veering into a different talk. But the cue cards, I think, are a great idea. Thank you from Diana that you had the same problem. You changed your browser.
Yeah, Chrome. You need Chrome, but we can talk about that, Dawn.
Yeah,
I've got some.
Okay, that's something. Sorry.
You and I are going to talk another day, I think, this week, if that's okay. I was going to also add with the getting off track, is that I try to have one outcome per live. And also I had a very, very good video coach, of which Diana knows as well, who actually said, often it's the feeling that people are getting from you, not what you're actually saying. So you obviously need to make sure you're saying the right thing, but it's the feeling you're evoking that they're actually picking up on, which is why we need, being entertaining is very important.
It is. It's a little bit like Maya Angelou very famously said, people may not remember what you said to them, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And if you make people feel included and inspired and all those kind of nice warm things, that's really, really good. So I've got a little bit off track myself. So we've done research, we've done rehearse, and now actually one of the things, I'm just keeping an eye on the time, that I think is very important for all of us is that you need to relax. Now, I'm not talking about being floppy and going to sleep, because let's face it, the minute you hit that on button for your Facebook Live, or you walk up on stage or whatever it is, the adrenaline is going to sort of G you up, and you really need that adrenaline because that actually helps you make that sharpness that makes you memorable. However, if you are full of adrenaline and cortisol, which isn't quite so good, half an hour, 45 minutes before you're even going to speak, that's not a good place to be. Okay? And so one of the things that I always ask people to do is think about how they're going to relax. And if you're somewhere and not your own house, my favorite place in public areas is the loo, the toilet. I don't know what you call it in Australia. So if there's nobody around, I'll stay in the open area. If there's people around, I go into the cubicle. And here's what I do, okay? I do shoulder circles. I do shoulder shrugs. I wriggle my ankles, I wriggle my feet. I do a few sort of bum circles and stuff like that. Any of those sort of very small exercises you can do that just loosen up your body. The reason why that's important is because you don't want anything to start causing your shoulders and your chest to get really tight. In my case, whenever I'm feeling that little bit under pressure, it's my shoulders that take the issue. Once my shoulders are sore and once they're tight, it very, very quickly goes down to my chest. If your chest is really tight, you can't breathe. If you can't breathe, you can't speak. Things come out whispery or squeaky or something. So I always say to people, you want to just loosen your body up, because your body is the center for your speaking. People think speaking is all about mouth, but it's not. It's your whole body's involved. And so please sort of do some relaxation. See, I'm really enjoying my shoulder shrugs at the moment. And that's one of those things, even just shaking your hands. It gets the blood flowing through the muscles, and that's very, very helpful. And one of the things that I want to share with you very, very quickly is there's a little breathing exercise that I teach all of my my clients to do, and it's called circular breathing. And you've probably heard it yourself, Linda, with doing all your fitness stuff. But with my circular breathing, I use a count of 4. We breathe in for 4, we hold for 4, we breathe out for 4, and we hold for 4. And we do that about 3 times. You don't do it too much, because you do it too much, you will hyperventilate, and I don't want anybody falling over. But it's just, it's really interesting. I have clients who use it to avoid road rage. It just brings things down. So if you can just imagine breathing in, holding, breathing out, holding, it just makes your whole body feel a little bit more relaxed. And then that keeps you open for that spark of inspiration that you need. Okay, so I don't have too much time left, and I would love to answer any questions. I've picked up one here from Mary. You conduct ceremonies every week and no longer practice. Excellent. In your 20s, you had seminars on how to migrate to, oh my goodness, you are a very experienced speaker. Well done, Mary. That is tremendous. Do you still do speaking though?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So I was a police officer for 25 years.
Excellent.
And also, so I trained to do teaching as well. And I used to teach at the police academy.
Oh my goodness.
Obviously a lot of speaking there. And now, because I'm a marriage celebrant, every week I do public speaking.
That must be such a wonderful thing to do.
It is, especially after spending 25 years going to domestics. And now I get to them before that happens.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful. And were there any things that you could take away from what you do at the moment that you'd like to share with the group as well?
I don't really know what I do. I think that I've been doing it for such a long time. Certainly when you were talking about knowing your target audience,
yeah.
Obviously that's imperative, and knowing your stuff. I can get up like you and talk about whatever for however long, and it blows me away that people get scared of public speaking, because I just love it and thrive on it. Yeah. However, if I don't know my stuff, that's when I start to freak. So even more than rehearsing for me is about knowing what I'm going to do, what I'm going to talk about.
Thank you, Mary. That's wonderful. And it's interesting. I mean, public speaking fear is a big thing for people. And I think particularly, there's a lot of people that can avoid it for a very long time. Because they can find excuses, they can do other things in work to showcase themselves. But I think whenever you're in your own business, you're showcasing you. If you can't communicate through speaking, you can put yourself at a disadvantage. However, there are people who do not communicate through speaking, and they have developed such other wonderful ways to do it that their audience don't mind one way or the other. So it's one of these horses for courses. I think one of the things about speaking, people are okay on a one-to-one or a one-to-a-few like we are today, but the minute they stand up, it's a very isolated place for a lot of people, and they feel very insecure up there, and they just want to crawl under the table. I do work with people who have that fear, and we've managed to sort of put it to bed or minimize it as time goes on. But it's quite interesting. Thank you. Anybody else for anything else?
I wanted to ask a question to you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask, when I talk and I get very passionate about what I'm talking about, I get very emotional.
Yeah.
I get so emotional that I get choked up and then I lose my whole train of thought. How do you deal with that when you're in front of people?
Okay. That breathing exercise that I just told you about, yeah, you obviously can't stop in the middle of a talk and start doing your 4-4-4. However, what I would say to you is the power of the pause is a wonderful thing when you're speaking. And if you feel that coming on, then I would pause. It can only be for a few seconds, and get in touch with your breathing. Just take some nice breaths, and because the audience are thinking, oh my goodness, is building up to something really good because they paused, but actually it's just giving you that moment to let's put it together. I had an example. I did a talk about inspiration, and the very first time, well, I do it quite regularly, but the first time I did it, one of my first inspirations in my life was my grandmother. And even though I had rehearsed this darn thing, when I saw her photograph over an overhead projector, I felt myself tearing up.
Yes, that's me.
Do you know? And luckily, because I had used PowerPoint, I just was able to stop and let people just take in the beauty of the picture and take a couple of little breaths and steady myself. Just be careful though, when you feel like that your body hasn't tightened up,
It does,
So
yeah,
it does, yeah. See if you focus on your knees, if you can soften your knees and just take that breath, it's amazing how that can just center you.
Okay.
Yeah, give it a go anyway. But I'm glad
Thank
to hear that you're passionate, because I love that.
Thank you. Good tip.
You're welcome.
Dawn, that's fantastic. Can you hear me, Dawn? Yep.
Yes, I can hear
cool,
you.
Cool. I was just going to say that there has been times that I've been in Facebook Lives where I've actually shared some very connected story about myself, and I have got quite emotional, and they have been the most uptaken and shared and successful lives.
Yes.
And whilst a little bit uncomfortable, for me, I actually never, ever think about myself when I'm imparting information, because if it was up to me, I just, bop around on my own and talk to my friends. But something is downloaded in me that I have the gift of being able to bring information together in a manner that needs to go back to people to activate them to get a result that they want. And I feel very responsible in all of that.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say this too, is that the excitement and pleasure in your bringing this presentation comes through. The same with Mary saying, I love it. And this is what I say to people in their sales training. They go, oh, I hate sales. I say, what is that bringing to the table?
Absolutely.
So I I learn to love some stuff, right?
Yep.
Now, I just wanted to say thank you very, very much for your time, Donna, because I don't want this to cut off before we stop the recording, etc.
Absolutely.
I will get your email to people so that can communicate with you. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming.
Oh, it's been such a pleasure. I have not known time go so quickly as tonight. You guys have just been fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dawn. Thanks so much. And I'll give you a call just after this. Thank you, everybody. I see you all on your calls over this week and your group calls as well. Thanks,
Excellent.
everyone saying thank you. They're all saying thank you. See you guys.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you.
Bye.